A junior soccer pay dispute, the story behind a local star, and the Liverpool heritage marking their territory in Melbourne. Welcome to the inaugural edition of Long Story Sport. I'm Nick Marachi, joined by Dylan Brown. Welcome, Dylan.
Thanks, Nick. Honoured to be here to kick off what will be a cracker of a show.
A cracker of a show indeed. But before we get into it, would you like to give the audience a bit of context of what we're all about?
Yeah, cheers, Nick. Long Story Sport doesn't necessarily look at what we already know. We know who won the Grand Final and the World Cup, but do we know how these stories came about? Let's start straight away with their first item on the agenda, a pay issue between the National Premier League and parents who are just looking for a club that will accommodate their children. Jared Fabreo has the story.
The National Premier League is currently at its peak, with NPL clubs slowly bridging the gap between themselves and A-League clubs. But it is their junior system that is struggling, with parents unhappy paying $2,000 for their kid to play soccer. Every parent wants their kid to be the next Tim Cahill or even Cristiano Ronaldo, but at what cost? With NPL clubs making their junior fees as high as we have ever seen, we ask, what are you paying for that is so different from a community club?
They've justified the pricing because the kids in the NPL probably end up playing they could play anywhere between 30 to maybe 45 games. Pre-season tournaments, they're all playing in cups after the season. So that's where they can say the additional costs of being an NPL club goes to. But in saying that too, a lot of the community clubs are playing in the same type of tournaments.
So with community clubs charging $700 and NPL upwards of $2,000, why would any parent enrol their child into NPL soccer? Vice President of Spring Hills FC in the Western Suburbs believes that it is simply not worth it.
At our community club, we're looking at $750 for a junior player from under 12s and up, and the sub-juniors we're looking at $600 as opposed to the NPL across the board from under 12s they start, which is only half a grand. You're looking at $2,100, so 3 times the amount you're paying. Is it value for money? I don't think so. It's supposed to be, the NPL is supposed to be for the elite competition, but I don't think it is. My motto on that is anybody can play NPL juniors, but not everybody can play NPL seniors.
High fees are leaving parents with empty wallets and leaving some of the best kids out of the most elite competition.
Yeah, that's a significant price rise. Yes, it's still good value in some aspects, but to perhaps increase the price threefold, you're asking a lot of a parent. Some parents just don't have that type of disposable income where they can afford to spend that each year on one child. So especially if you've got multiple children going through the soccer program, then it becomes very expensive. So.
Football Federation Victoria, or FFV, have indicated that the senior NPL competition is here to stay, but the junior system may indeed be going back to the old format. The changes that the FFV have proposed indicate that they aren't happy with less parents wanting to put their children into NPL soccer. And when asked to speak about the matter, they told me to look online as they will not be speaking publicly about the issue. Jared Fabreo, Long Story Sport.
$2,000 just to play junior soccer. That's a bit steep.
Yeah, it is, I guess, but they're just trying to squeeze out only the elite.
I mean, I guess if parents want the best for their child, they're going to fork out the extra cash.
Yeah. On to the next story. A player who is elite, though, is Jordan Wilkes, a good friend of the show. Jordan was only inches away from making it professionally, but a money-hungry club stepped in the way.
Hi, I'm Jordan Wilkes. I'm 23 years old and I play for Altona Magic.
For young soccer star Jordan Wilkes, it seemed as though his dream was all going to become a reality, but for Jordan, the dream was very short-lived. A standout player throughout his youth, Wilkes won many awards and was always a very successful young athlete.
So when I was 12 years old, I kind of had a bit of an ultimatum. I was playing soccer, tennis and cricket. And at that time, I chose to focus all my time and efforts on soccer to make sure I could become the best soccer player I could be. That was because I saw soccer as my best career path and it was a sport I enjoyed the most.
Jordan has always been a very passionate in any sport he's taken on. As you mentioned, he's played a number of sports and was quite keen on most of them. But I could always tell that soccer was the one that he was more passionate with and had more desire.
It all started here in his family home in Reservoir. He started with humble beginnings, and his persistence is what got him to where he is now in the NPL.
Biggest highlight would have to be last season, so 2017 with Heidelberg, when we won the treble. So we won the league title for Victoria. We won the Doherty Cup, which is like a Victorian State League Cup. And then we won the National Premier League's Australia Cup, which is all the federations of Australia going with like this mini-series. And we ended up winning that as a team. And we also went on a really good FA Cup run, so we played Perth Glory and Adelaide, which are two professional sides in the A-League.
It wasn't easy with injuries keeping him out for lengthy stints, but he developed into a consistent and valuable centre-back for many years to come.
Is that when I was younger, from when I was about 12 to 16, I had a lot of injury problems. So about every maybe 10 to 12 weeks, I'd do a hammy, I'd do a groin, I'd do a hip flexor. But then when I was 17, I saw this running coach for about 4 months, and he corrected my running technique. And over time doing that, my body simply corrected itself. That was a big change in my career, because I was able to play more games, and that's why in that season I won the best affairs, playing every minute of every game. It was something I'd never done before.
Rehab continued on, and Jordan got closer to achieving his childhood dream of playing overseas in Greece. But unfortunately, it wasn't to be.
So yeah, long story short, when a semi-pro player goes from semi-pro to pro, FIFA have mandated rules that if you're under 23, you're classed as a youth player. So you have to organise compensation between your semi-pro team, which was Heidelberg, and then your professional team, which was Galatea, a team in Athens. So although I signed the contract with Galatea and I was training with them, everything was perfect. When they went to register me with the federation of FIFA, they initially blocked it because there was no compensation organised. Heidelberg would not cooperate. They were being very difficult because they saw an opportunity to make money from me. And yeah, when push came to shove, they didn't cooperate, so I couldn't formally be registered by Galatea. That rendered that experience ineffective, because I couldn't get past that bureaucracy because a few selfish people stood in my way. Dream I had probably since I started, well, maybe not when I was 8, but when I was about 12, 13, when I first got a glimpse of where football can take me. I was naturally shattered about it, and it was very disappointing that people that you thought were actually trying to support you, they saw you as a number.
As he gets towards his mid-20s, Jordan still has not given up on his childhood dream.
He's always been at 100% most of his football career, but I reckon he's going to still give it 100%, and he could be anywhere. I think the sky's the limit.
A promising talent, but he still plays at the highest level of semi-professional football in Australia.
Yeah, that's right, Dylan, and we do often see players from this level get picked up at the A-League. His current club, Altona Magic, has a great heritage, and Peyton Papadakis went down to the club to see what all the fuss was about.
Altona Magic are a soccer club that are located in the west of Melbourne. They were founded in 1968. The club's foundation derives from its colours of red and black, which signifies cultural ties of a Macedonian football club, originally known as FK Vardar Skopje. Over the years, Altona has won 5 championships and produced many Australian internationals. During the evolution of football in Australia, Magic have remained consistent and held their spot in the higher divisions. They also managed to strongly keep their position in the top-tier competition, originally known as the Victorian Premier League, for 23 years, from 1988 to 2011. Magic competed in Victorian's 2nd and 3rd divisions for 7 years. Until recently, the club had a rapid boom.
It means a lot. Obviously, the club has been out of the top flight for 8 years now. So, I mean, it's been a long road.
What was known as the VPL, being the highest state division, became the NPL in 2014. Altona Magic saw the light in their 2018 season as they fought for their promotion spot.
After a strong second half of the year, Altona Magic have managed to secure a spot in the NPL. The players, staff and supporters couldn't be happier.
There's a lot of really driven and ambitious people here at Altona. We're going to try and win it. And with the people behind the scenes and the people in the team and the people, there every day, I believe we've got the team and we've got the support to do it. So I reckon we'll at least make finals.
After a couple mid-place finishes and then most recently an outcome that they deserve, staff and players are adamant that they have what it takes heading into the 2019 NPL season.
As a football side, as a club, the challenge is always to be the best. So I think that's what we're planning to do.
When pre-season comes around October, we'll have 3 hard months, and I think we'll give it a real good shot next year.
The club and supporter base as a whole is growing bigger by the minute, alongside their success. It was portrayed that the support and family-like environment has been a major factor in where they are today.
We can thank everyone. There's no individuals here. We're all here for the one thing, and we work together to we keep working together, we communicate together, so we're on the same wavelength. Whether it's community members, volunteers, players, coaches, we're all going to have the same mindset.
Altona Magic look to be on the right path for the 2019 season. It will be an exciting one.
A rich history, a rich heritage and a rich game style. This team has always provided great value to soccer in Australia, and it is awesome to see their success.
On a larger level, Liverpool's value to Australian culture is becoming ever so prominent. We even have a Liverpool bar in the city. Sam Bromley Lynch investigates.
The Liverpool Football Club has a long and storied history in English soccer. However, the popularity of the club isn't limited to England. Many Australian soccer lovers have chosen to support Liverpool for various reasons. This story is going to find out why so many Australians barrack for Liverpool and show just how passionate Aussie fans are of the club.
The famous Liverpool jumper can be seen just as frequently on people in the streets of Melbourne as they would be in the lanes of Liverpool. I've asked a few die-hard supporters why they barrack for them.
Me and my best mate Michael, we'd always just play in the backyard, and he was a massive Liverpool fan, so I just remember going to his place because I didn't have Foxtel at the time. It was the only way to watch the Premier League, and we'd stay up all night watching Liverpool, and it was just awesome.
I think the main player that attracted me was probably Steven Gerrard. Real heart and soul type player.
So why do so many Australians go for them?
I mean, Australia's got quite a big English population as well, so I guess that probably attracted a few. But yeah, outside of Liverpool and United, I think they'd be the biggest support bases probably in Australia and everywhere else in the world.
Just the popularity of the club is one thing, especially since they were so successful back in around the 80s, and a lot of people would have been watching them back then.
What about the influence of Australian players who have garnered the famous jersey?
Harry Kewell was, despite all his injuries, he was an amazing player and no doubt would have caught the eye of heaps of Australians watching Liverpool.
But everyone knows who Harry Kewell is and everyone knows he played for Liverpool, so absolutely, if you're maybe the generation younger than me, probably would have been a big reason why a lot of them go for Liverpool.
Liverpool supporters in Melbourne gather at the Imperial Hotel and passionately cheer on their team. Australian supporters were treated to a Liverpool match in 2013 at the MCG. Over 90,000 people filled the stands.
Oh, it was crazy because obviously you hear them sing "You'll Never Walk Alone" at Anfield before the games start, but when you experience it, it's just something else, especially with 90,000 people there.
Oh yeah, it was unreal. There was, I think, 95 to 100,000, and when they sang "You Never Walk Alone" at the start, it was something pretty cool to see.
Despite being over 17,000 kilometres away, Liverpool should know that they have a home away from home in Australia and supporters as passionate as anyone.
I wouldn't mind getting down there for a few drinks, and at equal top of the table, I could only imagine what would have happened in the bar that night if they had won the Champions League final, or if they indeed go all the way this season.
Well, being a Manchester United supporter myself, the way they're going at the moment, I do not want to be in that bar whatsoever. But anyway, I think that's all we've got time for. My name is Dylan Brown.
And I'm Nick Marachi. Thanks again for joining us for the inaugural edition of Long Story Sport. Join us next week as we talk AFL Grand Final Week. That's a Long Story Sport.